Nancy, Smokehouse, it's the urban heat. Shout out to Coach Live.
Coach LA's time to listen to conversations that's gonna keep you winning. Sunday nights at 10 p.m. on the urban heat, just calling. Conversations with Coach La 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 with Coach La 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 La. If you got something on your mind, you can call in, you can hit a line. She the realest, ooh, she the realest. You can tap in, loud, always get a business to empower you so that you can do every and anything that you want to. Kicking in with Coach LA's time to listen to conversations that's gonna keep you winning. Sunday nights at 10 p.m. on the urban heat, just calling. Conversations with Coach La 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 with Coach La 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 La.
Hey. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Coach La La La. It is season 8. How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? I took a little break. Yes, because I had to celebrate my birthday. So I took a couple of weeks off just to practice some self-care. And I am officially in chapter 49. Cannot believe it. 2026 will be my monumental year. I will be 50 years old and I'm still excited, flabbergasted, overwhelmed, and all of that good stuff. So I want to give a shout out to everybody who spent my birthday month with me because I had a good time, y'all. I mean, I did a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I did spoken word. I went to live shows. Shout out to Ray Royale, who blessed me with tickets to his White Hot R&B night at City Winery here in Boston. I also got a chance to check out a comedy show that's going to be on Tubi. All filter, no funny, or no funny, all filter. Don't kill me, John. But it was good. It was really, really good. It was a live taping and it's going to be on Tubi. It's no filter, all funny. That's what it is. I got it right. So that was at Roxbury Community College in the Media Center. I just did a lot I did poetry in the park with Brother D. I got a chance to hang out with my family, went to the movies to see Fantastic Four. I've just really enjoyed myself. I had an opportunity to relate, relax, release. And that was great. I really enjoyed it, but I missed you guys. So we're in season 8. I still cannot believe that I am in season 8 of this show and I've been doing it for 3 years, but it's been a good ride and I'm looking forward to this season. Shout out to Mina Shea Style Journey. And you guys know if you didn't know, so let me remind you. This is Conversations with Coach La 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 right here on the Urban Heat. We are Boston's only Black-owned radio station that's on the iHeartRadio platform. And you guys are about to get on the virtual couch. I hope y'all missed it. All y'all that wasn't in therapy. You know, some of y'all have therapists and some of y'all use this show for y'all's therapy. So tonight, I have a very special guest. Y'all talk about Facebook and y'all talk about social media. Some of y'all do anyway. Let me make sure I don't generalize. Some people talk about it in a negative way. But I've had some really great experiences. And this next guest I found, or let's say they found me, via one of my Facebook groups. And one of her connections affiliates reached out to me and said she would be a great guest. And they connected us. So y'all can't sleep on Facebook groups. Not all of them is talking crazy and messy and gossipy. Some of them are really about empowerment and connecting people who would have never, ever met each other had not it been for social media. One of the blessings, I think, of COVID, which we'll be talking to this next guest about, is I think it made us rethink connection and how to connect. And a lot of things that we used to not do, like say video chatting and talking on Messenger, became a norm because we needed a way to connect with each other. So before it's like, don't you call me on Messenger? What you calling me on that for? Like looking at the phone like some ghost had called you. Now that's, we do it all the time. So tonight's guest is I'm gonna read her bio, but I have really gotten a chance to love her spirit. We did a Zoom call and she was able to talk to me about why she wrote her book and her life story. And what touched me most is that she's the caregiver of her mom, who has dementia and who's also deaf. And I thought that was just an amazing testimony of who she is as a person, because that's not easy, y'all. And I'll tell you some facts and figures a little bit long. I see you, LaDonna. What's going on, boo thing? Y'all checking in on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. I'm even on Twitch. So shout out to everybody that's coming in from all of the different platforms. But she's a mentor. She's a caregiver. She's an educator. She's an author of her newest book called Stuck on Stupid, or S.O.S, which I really found really clever that every chapter was an S.O.S. And she breaks it down. But, you know, it's almost like a cry for help. And I thought that was clever how she used that. She has a powerful testimony of resilience, faith, and self-discovery. She is originally from rural Virginia. And by way of that, this woman has traveled. If I'm not mistaken, I think she's in Phoenix, Arizona now. Yes. But she was in Georgia. She was in Maryland. She's moved a few times. So she has an early life shaped by a challenge and courage. As I told you guys earlier, her mom is deaf and at this time has dementia, so she takes care of her. But her strength is unwavering. She has a spirit that's deeply connected to instilling values of hard work and compassion. She later started her own all-star cheerleading gym in Culpeper, Virginia. She called it CBA All-Star Cheerleading. She did that for nearly 2 decades, and then for ages 3 to 18. So she is a coach. She's a mentor with a guiding force that helped athletes really learn about character, perseverance, and belief in their self. She has a healing journey, one that was met with divorce. After 18 years of marriage, she found herself divorced before she decided to move to Arizona. She moved there as a mother of 2. She has 2 very handsome sons, which I won't spoil the book, but she talks about how she became a mom, which is a story I think a lot of women can that will resonate with a lot of women. But now she's a full-time caretaker. With faith as her foundation, she focuses on healing both physically, emotionally, and spiritually. In her book, Kym shares not only her personal journey, but she also talks about stories of others. Now, she also has changed the name. So we clarified that earlier so that no one gets upset with her. Everybody's name has changed, although this is, I will say, loosely about her personal story with some things to make it really entertaining. So the book starts off a little slow and I was like, okay, where are we going with this? But then all of a sudden, like a good movie, it took off and I was like, oh, snap, let me pay attention because it's getting juicy. So I'm excited to bring my next guest on to Conversations with Coach La to join me on the virtual couch, because her story extends beyond writing, and she plans to continue advocating for individuals living with dementia, particularly in the deaf community, with hopes of one day opening up a group home that will provide dignified, specialized care. Her message is clear. Even in our lowest moments, there's always purpose, and with God's grace, we can rewrite our story and move beyond being stuck. So without further ado, I want to welcome Kym Kan to Conversations with Coach La. What's up, girl?
Hey, what's happening? Thank
How
you,
you doing?
you for allowing me in your season 8.
Listen,
Jump start. Yes.
you sound good. You sound good. You look good.
Thank you.
You haven't talked in a few months, but you've had a lot going on since we last spoke. I know you and your mom just overcame the flu and was down and out for a few days. So I'm glad that you are looking healthy and well and able to talk to me and the listeners about your story.
Yes.
I always start this conversation off asking you to talk to the listeners about who you are beyond the bio and things that they may or may not know, or may be surprised to know about you. So tell me, who is Kym Kan? In
Well,
words.
I think you described me well, Coach Law. You did. But I have to clarify that I was married actually for 28 years, together 34.
Ooh.
I know. Crazy, right? And
Well, not necessarily, given that you guys were high school sweethearts. If
amen.
and you know, you
That's
went through a lot together. So I could see the on again, off again, and why you
yeah.
decided to marry him. And if not mistaken, didn't he propose like 3 times?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And you finally said yes. But I don't want to jump too far into that, because I think that goes into some of what we're going to talk about,
Okay.
because this is a part of a 3-part series. So tonight we kick it off with the power of the pivot. And I think you're the pivot queen. Okay. You are the power. You are the pivot queen. As I was reading your novel, although you've changed the names, it really was like, this is perfect to open up season 8, because
Okay.
we're talking about rising and reclaiming and reinventing yourself in the legacy series. And I think often when we think about legacy, we only think about when we die, right? We think about what we're leaving behind.
Right.
But you in your book are really talking about being present and being intentional about how you're living your life. So I'm curious about, other than what I said about you, what's something that is a cool fact, something funny, something nobody would know, that they'd be surprised to know about you?
Oh goodness. I don't even know, because I'm an open book. No pun intended. Say what I mean. I mean what I say. I'm just straight up. You ask me a question, I'll give you the answer. But you got to be careful with the question, because if you're not ready for the answer, then you might not want to ask the question. But I
Yeah.
would say overall, I'm just a fun-loving person that loves to dance, loves to have a good time, and I just care for people. I love people. People love me, and I just spread my energy everywhere I go, and that's all I got, Coach La. La 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 la.
You better sing it. What's interesting, because in your book you had me laughing about how
Okay.
you were, brutally and bluntly honest, that it kind of really destroyed your dating life earlier on. You was just like, yeah, I'm going on a date with somebody else.
I did tell him.
Uh, so I enjoyed your adventures, I will say. We also share in common ride share, which, for lack of giving them free publicity, I did that too. And one of the reasons why I did it was similar to you, sort of as a way to bridge income, and it allowed me to talk to people. So I was like, wow, we have a lot of things in common. I never knew that until I started to dive into the book.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
That was fun for me too, because it almost felt like therapy. You're in the car and you're just having a great day all by yourself. Someone gets in, they have an attitude, and you switch it up. It's like you bring them out of it. And sometimes they come in and they're just so happy-go-lucky, and you had a bad day, or I had a bad day, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go with the happy-go-lucky. I'm going to go with the positive vibes. Let's go. What you got? And if anyone in my car would ask me, so what brought you to the Phoenix area? I would tell them straight up, and it would be on and popping. And then they were like, oh, you need to write a book. I was like, I did. So it's been adventurous. I've enjoyed the 4 years of driving and learning all about the people here in the Phoenix area and those outside of the area, because a lot of people travel here as a tourist place to be. And I don't know, it's been a journey, and I've enjoyed it, and I miss driving. I'm not gonna lie. However, I can't now, because it just put me in a negative with the car accidents, because people here in the Phoenix area, they crazy when it comes to driving. They don't know how to drive. They just don't.
Unfortunately, they say that about Boston too. Don't get mad at me, Bostonians, but people from other places come here and say Bostonians don't know how to drive.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. Terrible. 5 accidents, none of them my fault. And I'm like, you know what? I can't be.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a little bit of PTSD, not in general.
I know. Well, what it did for me is it put me in the negative. I went from a car paid in full to starting car payments again because the person was underinsured and I was driving rideshare.
Oh, so you mean in the negative meaning financially.
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha.
Like,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
that ain't worth it. Nah, not right now. Yeah, I love people, but not that much. Mm-mm. No, ma'am.
So so being this outgoing, bubbly person,
Yes.
we share that in common too. Is just being conversationalist, loving to talk and share.
Yes.
Um, why? Let's talk about why tonight's conversation is so important, because I think as women of color, this
Yes.
idea of the power of the pivot, this idea of being stuck on stupid, right? And sort of just being stuck,
Yes.
not an unfamiliar one that I think a lot of my listeners, including myself, can relate to. So
Right.
why do you think, having this conversation tonight was so important for you? Why does it matter?
It's just as important as the book that I wrote, S.O.S. Stuck on Stupid. And you nailed it. I mean, you can't stay stuck in those situations. You have to recognize that there's a way out. There's a positive light at the end of the tunnel, but you got to get through the tunnel. You can't just stay in the tunnel thinking, save me, Lord. How if you're just stuck? If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're not going to learn your lesson.
Mm,
So I think it's just more of just a lesson learned, and
mm,
how anything that you're going through, because I've been through a lot, and I could go for hours on end on what I've been through, but others have been through probably worse than me.
mhm,
But in general, I don't dwell in it. Lately, and I have to say this because when mom was in the hospital with flu A recently, it kind of got to me because I was like, whoa, 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 no, this can't be. Why isn't anyone checking on me? Why isn't anyone stopping by? Why didn't anybody, does anyone care about Kym? And that was hard for me because I'm taking care of my mom, and then I recognize, okay, this is 24/7. I've been in the hospital for 6 days with my mom, uh, and she doesn't look good. She doesn't seem good, and I have to suck it up. I have to let all my feelings go to make sure she's okay. I got to keep a smile on my face so she can smile back. Those things, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what about me? Why didn't anybody check on me? Why isn't anyone coming by? I had my son, my youngest, he bought me breakfast one morning, but it was just that thought of uh it's hard when you're going through, and especially when you're going through alone and you're still trying to take care of a loved one at the same time. That's a double whammy. So how do you do that? I'm telling you, through the grace of God, that's how you do it. You have to recognize that someone has your back, and the only person always that will have your back is God. So I had to lean and depend on God and forget my carnal mind, and let go of that, because you can spiral into a depression. You can spiral into, I don't want to do this anymore. A lot of things could go wrong, Coach Law. And I think that's the definition of my book, SOS. Yes, you're right. It is a bridge to, finding someone to save you. And my savior is God. And my help was from God. And am I don't want to say that I'm a religious person, but I'm spiritual. And God is the head of my household. He's the head of my life. Uh, but living in this world, Coach Law, is not easy. And I think the main reason why I wrote the book was simply because I needed uh, my life experience and those that shared their life experiences with me in that book, so they understand, you're not in it alone. And there is a way out, but you got to understand how to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, what's interesting as you're talking now,
Yes.
because as I read through the book, that was
Yes.
the theme, right? The theme was being in this place of control. Anybody else out there in the chat out there know about wanting to be in control, right? You got control issues, right? And you talked about on multiple occasions and chapters of taking the wheel and having the faith of a mustard seed, but also, yes, I'm saying I'm grounded in God, but I really didn't have, my faith wasn't strong in him. So there was oftentimes you were putting yourself in different situations and making certain decisions that, thinking back, hindsight, you're like, God was covering you because it could have went totally to the left. Or,
Yes.
So, but when I think about being stuck, I think often, as you said, life is lifing for everyone.
Yes.
I don't think whoever you think is got it all together and seems like everything is fine and perfect, there can always be something that you don't see. So I think one of the things that I got to the end of the book and you were just, sort of making connections, which is what therapy does, of growing up, taking care of your mom and your mom being deaf and your aunt being visually impaired. Like you had multiple people around you that literally had shortcomings and things that there was nothing that they could do to reverse it, right? In terms of how they had to navigate the world.
Yes.
And you were talking about why that sort of put you in a position to be seeking love and or to sort of always put yourself second. So even in this moment, as you're saying, who's checking on Kym, because you have to, prioritize your mother. How are you balancing that? Because it hasn't really changed with her now having dementia. You have taken that on 24/7, which a lot of people might not have done, right? A lot of people might have said it's just too much and they don't have the capacity to be a caregiver.
A lot of people are doing that, and a lot of people have said that, and I've recognized that with mom being in and out of I tried a few facilities, assisted living facilities here in the area, but they didn't work for me because they didn't cater to my mom. So, but going back to what you said about my aunt, it was my sister's grandma who was blind, and her daughter, which was our aunt, call her my aunt too, then was deaf. So we were in a house with a deaf aunt, a deaf mom, blind grandma.
And wasn't your father also hard of hearing too?
My father was also deaf, yes. But he didn't live with us. So
okay.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. Oh goodness.
Well, but you mentioned some of that, just navigating parents that have, physical impairments, right? That they have to navigate. And you learn sign language. You mentioned that too.
At 3 years old, yes. And the funny thing I have to say about that, Coach Law, is I didn't know that I wasn't signing ASL. I was doing SEE, which is signing exact English. So every word I was signing versus ASL is, word sign. You don't say all the words. Anyway, so I learned that lesson too by being a volunteer at the library in my hometown.
You're an amazing woman. You know that, right?
Oh, thank you.
You're something special.
Thank you.
I love talking to people who have different walks of life, even down to like the way in which the marriage ended. And so I bring this up because we're going into my next segment, right? But
okay.
You mentioned she's very funny, guys, in this book. Very funny. There's multiple times I'm reading it, right? She was like, "Are you saying therapy yet?" Like she's talking to me directly. Because I'm like, they need therapy. And then the line came up. Are you thinking we should go to therapy? Yep, we should have. So there was these funny moments in there where you if it were a movie, you would have those monologues where all of a sudden everything goes gray and the person's talking directly to the camera. That's how I felt reading the book. There were these moments that you did that. So,
Yeah.
but when you think about how therapy has been interwoven into your life, because your now ex-husband did not want to do counseling. He just was like, I'm done. Am I okay to say that?
Yeah.
Okay. He was done.
Yeah.
So where are we now in terms of, I know the book was therapy for you.
Yes.
Um, but have you changed your perspective? Have you actually sat down with a licensed professional? Or are we still winging this thing and figuring it out on your own?
I sat down with a few therapists. I just didn't feel the vibe enough to continue. That was my take. But again, I have control issues, as you mentioned earlier, which is also in my book. And I always feel like I can control everything in my life. I can do this. And so I know that's a concern, but I feel like I'm doing okay. I talk to enough people. I don't isolate until I see negativity. When I see negativity, I'm like, I'm just gonna take a step back. I'm gonna chill. I need to just be me by myself and figure this out. But majority of the time, I vent all the time. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going through. This is what I went through. And I don't mention names or anything a lot, but I feel like I'm okay, Coach Law.
Well, I have this saying, right? There's a difference between managing one's mental health, which is
Yes,
similar to managing your
yes,
physical health. It's all holistic. Like we often segment mental health from physical health when we really need to think about is that this is your well-being, which includes your mental health. So everybody has mental health, right? We all need to take care of our mental health just like we would take care of our physical health. And then we have mental illness, right? Mental health disorders. And those require, a little bit more support. But often just because someone is grieving, sad, down, needs time to their self,
hmm
even anger, some of the emotions that we don't particularly like, we often will say, you know what, a person needs to go to therapy. I know this is going to be contradictory to some people, but this is why I do the show, right?
yeah,
They debunk some of the myths. Not everything requires that you need to go to therapy and sit down with a licensed professional. But when it starts to impact your functioning, when you start to feel like you are, your life is threatened, you feel suicidal, you feel like you want to end your life, right? These are some of the signs
yes,
that you need support. When you
I
start
agree.
to um really change your overall disposition, where you notice it, other people notice it.
Right.
That could be irritability, that could be sleeping all the time, that could be overeating, that could be behaviors that are just so out of your norm
Yes,
and you don't really have a good explanation for it. Those
right.
are all telltale signs. But I think sometimes when life is just lifing,
Yes.
doesn't necessarily mean you need to see a therapist, but it doesn't mean you can't go see one,
Amen.
right?
Amen. I
You
agree.
can use it for maintenance. You can use it as a self-care tool. It's not always because someone has a mental disorder or a mental illness because they choose to speak with a licensed professional.
Right.
Sometimes that's just a way of, if your knee was hurting and you went and got your knee checked out, right? You might not have arthritis, but you had a little pain. They might tell you, you know what, you need to do some stretches. So I don't think that every time someone wants to go to a therapist that it's a it's something that means that they are struggling with a mental health disorder or mental illness.
Right, right. I totally agree with you. And I don't condone this because I think that it's recommended for a lot of people. And it's probably recommended for me. But let me just say this. For me, I have so much on my plate that it's hard for me to even take time for me to get my nails done, to get my hair done, do my own hair. I was doing my own nails. I just recently just started going back. But it's those little things that I never paid attention to that I needed. I need self care. That's what the book is about too. You gotta put yourself first, because no one else is gonna do it. And when you don't take care of you, then there's no way you're going to be able to take care of someone else. And that's what was getting my goat late, because my youngest son said, Mom, because I was in the hospital, Coach Law. I was in the hospital because I had an absent seizure. Didn't even know what that was, what it meant or anything, or how it occurs. But it was just being stressed and no sleep. 2 hours of sleep. I was driving, ride share, and then I would come home and take care of my mom, and she wasn't sleeping at night. So I got maybe 2-3 hours of sleep. But overall, what ended up happening was I wasn't taking care of me, and it put me in the hospital. So that was an eye opener. And my youngest, what I was saying, he point blank said, Mom, we know you love grandma. We know that you want the best for grandma. But guess what? We love you too. And he was talking about him and his brother. We love you too. And we want the best for you. So do what the airline stewardess says, or
You better go ahead and say it. Put that oxygen mask on.
thank you first before you put
Yes,
it on
yes.
grandma.
Well,
And I
I'm
was
so
like,
glad
whoa,
that you said
whoa,
that.
coming from my youngest son, I was like, ouch, that hurt. But
Yeah.
it was true.
Well, when you were telling your story, the first thing that kind of came up for me, because they actually do have a lot of studies on this, that first of all, most people, 72% of adults over 40 have considered making a major life change. And so when you think about just our age and where we are,
Right.
and also now what's going on with the world.
Whew.
The other one that came up was 70% of adults in the US have experienced some kind of a traumatic event at least once. But I think some things that we don't think about is something like our parent getting dementia. Like that in itself can be very traumatic, not to mention the behaviors that go along with that.
And long
And, then-
lasting.
and that is not going to necessarily, it doesn't improve, it usually gets worse, right? You can try to slow it down, but it doesn't usually get better. But the biggest one that comes up for me when you were saying that is that caregivers are 16% more likely to experience anxiety or depression than non-caregivers. And it's a hard thing to be in a position where you can't find resources and you can't find support, or there's not community. So when you were saying who's checking on Kym, the first thing I thought about was, what does your community and what does your support system look like navigating doing this so that you can put on your oxygen mask?
Okay. All right. Well, to be fair, I do have a few friends here in the Phoenix area. And I still have some family back in Virginia. But I think what got my goat is no one really checks on mom and I. And what really made it clear to me is, whoa, what if I had another absent seizure? I'm getting rest, but I don't really understand that. So what if I did? And I haven't heard from anybody in several days. Wow, that's not good. And I told my BFF, I was like, uh, I no, she told me, she's like, you need a system set up in Phoenix to where someone's checking on you on a regular basis because of what you do and how you do it, and you're there alone with your mom. That's You need some type of support system in Phoenix. So I've been trying to reach out to a few people, and but it's just not as easy. It's not easy to do or to navigate or to have, because everyone has their own busy schedule. Everyone has their own life. Everyone has their own problems and situations that it's hard for them to notice that, because Kym is happy all the time. When you talk to Kym, she doesn't have a problem. She's good. You know, she's the life of the party. She's the life of church. She's Everything's good with Kym. Kym is good. She's smiling all the time. I love her smile, her energy. I hear that all the time. But then I come home. No one knows what happens behind closed doors. No one knows that I'm sitting in front of my mom while she's on the toilet, and I'm like, why, Lord, why? And I'm being real. I'm being real and authentic, because it's things that people just don't recognize. Or even let me go to the opposite direction, Coach Law. When my ex did ask for the divorce, he caught me off guard. He did. I'm not going to lie about that. And I wanted to be strong, and I didn't want to be bitter. So what did I do? I said, all right, because I don't want to be in a loveless marriage, consider it done. And when I say that, my boys and him, they know what I mean by that. It's done. If I say consider it done, it is done. And a month and a half, it was done, Coach Law. Just like that. And then I had to think back, and I was like, okay, wow. So I was with him my whole adult life. And now I'm single in my 50s during COVID, still taking care of my mom since 2010. And now her dementia has gotten worse. Oh my goodness, what have I done? How do I navigate through this life now? Who's going to take care of me? So what did I do, Coach Law? I'm going to go there. Probably shouldn't, but I am, if you will allow me to. I set out saying, I want to be married right now. I want to mate. I want someone to be a partner with me and to do, we're going to grow together. We're going to do all this together, but I want to be married. So I was out there setting out, going on these dates. And they were, and I would say, I'm looking to be married. Didn't hold it back. I didn't know. Let me just say.
Listen. How many people can relate to that, right?
Oh,
that now we're getting into the nitty gritty, right? Like, how do we navigate being stuck, right? Because we like to have authentic, real conversations, right? When we get stuck, sometimes we crash out.
Yes.
And the crash out, it looks like strength sometimes, right? Like, we go shopping, we go on trips, we start dating, we don't take the minute to actually feel our feelings, the feels, and check in with ourselves. So it sounds like you've learned to do that, though, since all of the dating and moving real fast, because that was one of the other things. She was moving quick, y'all.
Girl.
The funniest part, I'm not going to tell it all, but when the character got it, you said you had made out with a homeless man. But he wasn't really homeless, y'all.
He wasn't homeless.
But he was sort of kind of homeless.
Yeah, well, he just seemed homeless. I'm like, wait a minute. So I met you, and it looked like you had a lot of stuff in your car, and don't know where you live, and you're talking about if I get a home, it belongs to you and me? Hell no. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse, but no, that ain't happening. No, sir.
But at the same time, he made you feel safe, which was another theme that came up. This idea of safety. He was talking a good game. Because the first guy in the book, you made him wait. He didn't get none.
That's a shame, and he was a good guy.
He didn't get none. She was stringing him right on along.
No, I wasn't stringing him along. I was
trying to go. You was.
No. Let me just say this. I just wanted to do it right. I wanted to date right. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, so I was like, okay, let me go through the motions, get to know him. Everyone's telling me, consistency over time. Let me do that. And then I thought I was doing the consistency over time, but he was like, Dad, Kym, I just want to, anyway. Yeah. I don't know what to say, except.
Well, yeah, he thought he was about to be able to be a part of your world. And he quickly found out that you wasn't about that life.
I was about that life. I just wanted to take my time with that life, and he wasn't willing. And you know what? I learned from that. I learned from the homeless dude. He wasn't homeless, but I learned from him. I learned from all the mistakes. I don't want to call them mistakes, though, Coach Law. I want to call them experiences. I learned from all of those experiences what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say, when to fold. No, you know what I'm saying. So bottom line is I learned so much that I am not only wiser, but I'm stronger and I'm better. And I know what I want and what I don't want. That's where I am in my life right now, Coach Law. And I'm grateful for that. I am. And I'm on a dating app right now, and I'm saying that I'm celibate until marriage. And they're like, oh, you know, we were having such a great conversation. And when I reread your profile, that doesn't work for me. I was like, okay, swipe left, peace out. Okay.
So now we're relaxing. Tony Bone, the book is called Stuck on Stupid. I just put the link inside of the chat. Definitely a good read. The chapter that we're referring to is called Sex on Steroids.
Oh God.
When she starts to do exploration of her sexuality. And sort of, you know, I think a lot of us that are over 40 out here dating, it's an interesting space to be in. I think a lot of people share your sentiments of wanting a partner and not wanting to die alone, you know, and wanting to have someone, a mate. So I don't think, especially, I don't know about guys, I'll speak for myself, but I think a lot of women that are my clients and myself have voiced this.
Yeah.
What do you think about this statement that women control sex and men control relationships?
Yes, that's true. Because they're waiting for us to say yes. And we're waiting for them to say we're a couple. And I had one situation that I had back a few years ago where, you know, I controlled it. But it was good. It was no worries for him. I mean, he got what he wanted, but I didn't get what I wanted, which was the relationship. He called it a situationship. And when he called it a situationship, I was like, what the hell? What am I doing here? I told you I wanted to be in a long-term relationship. I told you eventually I wanted to be married. So what are we doing?
Well, he was, if I'm not mistaken, I remember also there was one that the dating was great. You know, you guys were really doing a lot of great things, and you talked about, you know, sex being good, doing a lot of things, but there's still not being necessarily compatibility.
No,
and you brought that up with your ex-husband too, that there was, should I say, we've been together so long and we got so much history, I might as well.
Complacent.
Right? I might as well. But ultimately, in the end, the same thing that you talked about in the beginning ended up being what sort of ended it, which was the compatibility. There was a lot about him you didn't know, and it seemed like there was a lot about you he didn't know.
No, I think we knew each other. We just became complacent with each other. We were high school sweethearts. You know, it was just, we're family now, so let's make this work, you know? And then you go through the motions, and day after day, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. What just happened? What are we doing? And then you go to the next day, and it's like, whoa. What just happened? What are we doing? And then we're creatures of habit, yes?
I agree. But do you think that also what comes out of it is that you're not having those difficult conversations that really go to the depths of what you're thinking and feeling, so that can occur? Because it seemed like it came out of nowhere, but then at the same time, you said you were ignoring a lot of the red flags.
Yes. It came out of nowhere because I ignored the red flags, because I said he would never do that to me. Mm-hmm. He would never leave me. I'm his dutiful wife. I'm doing everything for him. He would, but then if you look back, it's that control thing that I had. And was I his mother or was I his wife? Was I his friend or was I his lover or both?
Maybe
It was
all the above.
right. But it was, we were just too far apart with what we wanted in life. And I think we loved each other. We just weren't in love with each other. And that's important. Did we date on a regular basis? We went out, but did you call it a date? Nah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it was that kind of relationship that when I moved here to Phoenix, I went through the same cycle. I was like, oh, you're my man. Nah. Oh, you're my man. Nah. Well, maybe this one is. And you know what got me, Coach Law? Point blank and simple. Every man that I got attracted to was different. And they brought something to the table that I never saw before. Like, oh my gosh, he bought me a Coach purse. No one's ever bought me anything that expensive. That's crazy. Wow. Or, oh my God, I love the way he kisses me. Oh my goodness, he has his phone down. He's not even paying attention to anything but me. He was speaking my love language. Those things is what got me trapped into the mindset of being stuck. Because I would go through the cycles and I was like, but this is different. But was it? I wasn't different. I didn't recognize the red flags. I didn't take the time to really get to know that person. You know what I mean? And
I guess that's what I'm saying. Like if we're jumping to conclusions
right.
and or writing our own narratives of what something is and ignoring the red flags.
Yes.
Are we really knowing who we are, who the other person is, or have we designed the version of them in our heads?
Girl, I didn't even know who I was. How about that? Let's start there. I didn't even recognize who I was, what my favorite color was, what type of foods do I like to eat. I meant, or what's my favorite thing to do? I'm still struggling with that. It's like I can wear any color, don't matter. I don't know. Blue. Yeah, blue's my favorite color. Yeah, blue is my favorite color. And then I'm convincing myself. So it's that in addition to not knowing your partner or the relationship that you're in, not knowing that person.
So you mentioned a few times in the book that it was therapy. It was therapeutic to write this book. And you at the end really talked about getting to this space of letting go and letting God. And I would say it was a gratitude space, right? You really were taking inventory of all of your blessings, strengths, and all of the things that was even maybe traumatic, of seeing it as something that helped shape you to who you are now.
Yes.
In what ways do you think that's still true now from when you wrote the book versus have you looked back and gone, I still got a lot of work to do?
If I'm completely honest with myself, I want to say that I don't have a lot of work to do, but there is still work to be done. Have I grown? Yes. That's why I say it's not a lot, because it was a lot in the beginning and I didn't recognize it. My oldest kept saying, Mom, you need therapy. I was like, no, I don't. I got this. I'm Superwoman. What are you talking about? And I was holding on to that. So now, do I feel like I'm Superwoman? Heck no, absolutely not. Do I now feel like I can do things on my own by myself without any help? Heck no. No. I'm on my hands and knees praying to God all the time. And I'm talking to people all the time. And I feel that there's work to be done. But I'm not in the same space that I was when I first started. So, yeah, there's still work.
Well, I believe that as long as we're in this journey called life,
yes,
that we're always going to be challenged to grow.
Amen.
I really embrace the growth mindset that we have to look at the things that we've experienced as guides, lights. They teach us what we like, what we don't like, what not to do next time. But sometimes we get stuck because we got burnt, we got hurt, we got cut. So we stay in the safe place and we don't try it again for fear that
I'm just the opposite. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah.
well, we learned that in the book, right? Like you didn't allow the demise and the breakdown of the marriage. You said, listen, I don't want to be in a loveless marriage. It's done. I wish you the best of luck. I don't want to be bitter. Let's, try to be as mature as we can. You also seem to express your feelings too, throughout the book. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of people think about what coping skills are we talking about? So grounding. And the grounding really comes a lot with your spiritual practices. And writing a book is like journaling. Yes. So you used a lot of the things I recommend in therapy. So believe it or not, a lot of times, reason why people come to therapy is because they don't know what to do or they're not practicing any of these techniques to get them through. They truly are stuck. So as I was reading it, I was like, you know what? She ain't as stuck as she thinks she is.
Right. Right.
She may not like what's happening, but she's moving.
Yes.
Obviously.
And that's why I try to capitalize it all in my last chapter, 11.
Yes. And when I got there, I was all smiles, to be honest.
Thank you.
I really was just grinning because I was like, you know what? This is a great way to sort of summarize and bring all things together. So which takes me to what this show is all about, which is Bet on Self moments. So let's get into it. Let's talk about where do you go from here, Miss Kym?
Where do I go from here? Up. I keep moving, keep on moving, keep on striving, I'm working on creating a group home in honor of my mom, because that's what she needs, and I need a job, and I need my freedom too. So right. Yeah, it's a combination, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to convert my home, which I love, but I love my mom more, into a group home in honor of her. That's the one thing that I'm working on right now, and I'm getting it ready and making sure that I pass this exam coming up on Thursday. Pray for me.
We're praying for you. So this sounds like this is going to be, as they say, your big one, your big bet on self moment. Those defining decisions where we choose healing, growth, and change, even when it's uncomfortable. And I like to say too, is those the times where we go, I'm a creative for myself, right? If not now, then when? And if not me, then who?
Ooh.
Right? And so you take things by the reins and you decide, you know what? I'm going to create it, right? I think that is amazing that you're even thinking about and meeting a need, which makes you so entrepreneurial, which you've been from starting the organization for cheerleading. Like you've always met a need that was about giving back in community.
21 years.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So other than the doing the group home to help other people with dementia, what else? What other defining bet on self moment are you thinking of? I know you said at the end too that you had already thought about writing another book.
Yes. And it's about dementia. And I'd love to get a podcast started as well regarding dementia. And because people just don't understand it completely. They see a glimpse of it here and there. Oh, yeah, my grandfather had that. But did you experience your grandfather with dementia? Were you in the household? Do you know what grandma went through? That type of thing. So all of that makes a difference. So, and I think that's where God is leading me, Coach La. I just want to be a spokesperson. I want to be that advocate, that person that could relate to what they're going through and let them know that they're not alone, because you still feel alone, even though, I know there's a lot of people out there that has dementia, and there's a lot of people out there that are single and divorced and all that, but there's no but. you still need an outlet. You still need a voice. Your voice needs to be heard. And you want someone to talk to. You want someone to guide you through those things that you go through. So that's on the top burner for me. It's top of the list. The group home, I'm gonna do more sign language, probably an interpreter again.
Mhm.
Not again, but for the for the first time with ASL, not SEE. But those type of things, I think, are important. And what it does for me, Coach Law, because I'm at the top of the list too, is it gives me freedom. It gives me resources and income to where I can live my life. I can go on those vacations. I can do those things that I've wanted to do since I've been out here. I've
Yeah,
done a little.
I think too the training is needed, right? With so many people being diagnosed with dementia, I really don't think they know exactly what to do. And what I'm finding in the assisted living facilities is that often people just are not trained. So there's a whole market of just how do you support, and what things do providers need to know to be
Yeah,
able to support people in that position.
yeah,
They're forgetting to pay their bills. They're forgetting all these different things. And, you know, if there's nobody to step in and to do these things, they can find themselves in some really, really interesting pickles
right.
without, and then you don't know often too that it's happening, because a lot of people can mask it and hide it from you. And if you're not living with them, you don't know until it's gotten really, really bad.
Amen. Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
excited to hear about what you're doing. And
Thank you.
I know that you'll pass your test. I'm gonna send you uh, much success, but I haven't seen, from what I've learned about you, I don't think there's much that you can't accomplish once you put your mind to it.
Aw, thank you so much.
So I don't think that will occur. Now, normally what we do is we go to what I call Coach's Corner.
Okay.
And this is an opportunity for us to think about takeaways from this show. What do we want to leave the wonderful listeners with? Shout out to everybody who's been tuned in on iHeartRadio, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch. You guys have been listening to Conversations with Coach La right here on the Urban Heat, Boston's only Black-owned radio station on the iHeartRadio platform. Yes, we're very proud about that. And tonight's conversation has been about the power of the pivot. And I've been talking to Kym Kan, author, mentor, extraordinaire, entrepreneur, advocate, caretaker, caregiver, about her rise and rebuilding and reinvention of herself. After so much struggle, triumph, tribulations, she's on the other side. And she just shared her bet on self moment. So I really want to kind of think about, what do we want to leave the listeners with? Because you had such a profound story that reminds us that life will force you to start over, whether it's divorce, burnout, or even caregiving demands.
Right.
But you're never starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. So what's one thing that you want to sort of remind people as they're thinking about how to reclaim their life, their identity, their sense of self? What do you
I
think?
I would say, don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on a dream. Don't give up on hope, because you always have tomorrow. And well, I don't want to say you always have tomorrow, but you have today. And always look for something wonderful in each day that you live, and you'll see it, and you grow from that, and you get stronger from that, and you learn from that to where you can do what needs to be done, and you can do what you want to do in your life. Only you can make your life the best that it can be. Only you can make yourself happy. I mean, someone else could make you happy, but only you can truly make yourself happy. So if you focus in on what you need and what you feel is best for you, and take heed to that and stay true to that, the sky is the limit. God is there. He'll guide you. He always has your back. So that's my takeaway. That's what I have, because I know time is ticking.
1 second.
Unorthodox radio from Boston and beyond. Heat981fm.com and iHeartStation.
Yes. Uh-oh. We about to go into Teddy's jam for me. Hold on now, Teddy. Hold on, Teddy. We're about to wrap it up right now. So Kym, thank you so much. I want to leave the audience with one thing to think about. And as we close out today's show, what parts of you are you trying to rebuild? And what old habits are you finally ready to leave behind? Again, what parts are you trying to rebuild? And what old habits are you finally ready to leave behind? And that's the reflection question that I want to leave for everyone to think about. Drop it in the chat. Discuss it with your friends and your family. But ultimately, we all at some point have felt stuck. But I want you to remember, all you got to do is bet on self, put God first. And guess what? I'll see you guys next week right back here on the virtual couch. Thank you, Kym. Because you know what? Kym Kan, and you're going to pass your test. And I appreciate you for taking time to sit with me on the virtual couch tonight. Say good night. Bye, guys.
Much for having me. Bye.
See you later.
Okay.